So the tower height, the basic rule of thumb, when we're gonna talk about strength, is that the higher the incline is, the more percentage of body weight you are pushing and pulling, okay? So when you're performing squats, when you're using the arm cables, when you're doing pull-ups, the higher the incline is, the harder the exercise becomes. Now there is a big caveat, and it's a really important caveat because I take this along with many of my patients. That is, the higher the incline level, the easier it is to do exercises such as rolling up, facing away from the tower, and performing push-ups. So to talk about that a little bit, is that oftentimes when I'm doing an exercise movement, and 9 times out of 10, I may be doing something of a squat to warm up a person or just get their whole body, see where their mechanics are and how they're pushing. But when they roll up, they might be down low, especially in the earlier phases. And if I don't have the ability to adjust the total gym right then and there, I might say, can you roll up to sitting? And some people just can't. Now, it's beautiful that if you have the power tower and you can click a button, because you can roll up easier if you increase the incline. And my intention with my patients is to get them empowered and to have them feel like they can do the machine themselves. So the less adjusting I do to the equipment with respect to helping them on and off of the machine, and I can just adjust it and tweak it so that I can bring it up so they start to feel successful rolling up and down and get them stronger in that movement pattern, the better off I am in the long run. Now, push-ups. Push-ups is a great plank maneuver. It is great with creating stability. So the higher I go here, it's like a wall. If you can think of the incline as a progression of a wall push-up down to the floor, that's basically saying that the higher you go, the easier this exercise is when you're doing a push-up facing the tower. A really important point as well is when you're on, depending upon your machine, around a level 12 or 13, if you have the adjustable glide board, bringing that up, and we're going to talk about this again because it's repetition is the mother of learning, is that when you bring the board up, oftentimes I will bring the incline to 13 and then bring the board up so that it's parallel, and now I can really work on bringing them to a successful movement patterns with planks and push-ups and different types of movement patterns. It's one of the things that I love because often the progression from the wall to the floor is a big jump. So we've talked about strength, mobility. How about stability? So one of the things about the total gym is I always talk about this sweet spot. So there is a sweet spot when it comes to stability. Now I could say the higher you go and you're doing squats and you take those squats into plyometrics, that in and of itself is a stabilization exercise. You have power in that you have a higher strength load, you're working on tempo, you're working on explosiveness, you're working on control and deceleration as you come back down. But there is a point when I would like to focus on the stabilization of the trunk and be doing something with squatting and jumping. So I will lower my incline level, and everyone has a particular spot. So you have to kind of work with your clients knowing that it's probably less than 20, more than 8, and you're going to find that that transition, all of a sudden you're doing squats and you almost have to control the deceleration. And you can start to transition to a jump. And that jump becomes more core focused, and that I'm not feeling like I'm pressing a lot through my legs, rather I'm really feeling my abdominals kick in and working on that stabilization. So that's a way to do like a static equilibrium where you're keeping the board still and working the incline height, and then adding more of a movement pattern. And in this case, this mid-range is more of a core focus. If I took it up, it's still a core focus for sure, but it becomes more, you'll feel it in your legs and more of a strength-driven movement pattern. So that's hopefully going to help you out with respect to understanding how we use the tower height and how you can make that adjustment in height. It's also really important to note that as we move forward, that if you adjust the tower height, you're going to see how that may influence the other components of the total gym that you can address as well. Like I said, sometimes I bring the tower height to 13, but then I bring up the adjustable glide board. So we're going to talk about the glide board next.